Hi guys, this is Mark Shawson, the Pattern Trader, and I guess at some point we've all heard the saying the tortoise wins the race. And I think that little metaphor is probably appropriate for my trading style, where I look to hone in on the very best risk-reward opportunities, and then like a dog with a bone, staying with it, be vigilant, see it through all the ups and downs, and hopefully be rewarded in the end. And I guess in this case, what I'm referring to is the pound versus New Zealand dollar. And for anybody who's known me for any length of time, I've been yammering on about the virtues of being long pound versus New Zealand dollar since I saw a governing double bottom price pattern in the late 2016-2017 timeframe. Now, in a minute, I'm actually going to go to the charts. I'm going to show you exactly what I was looking at. And right now, as I'm talking, the pound versus New Zealand dollar trading pair is going past a multi-year high. It's currently trading around 205.5, 205.50, which is just north of multi-year highs. Now, I have been saying this is where this is going for a long time. Now, despite that, we had an enormous run-up when I advised our members to start getting long at the 185 area, and we had a huge windfall when it crossed 205 and made 2,000 pips on that run-up. And then after it went to that multi-year resistance area, 205, it kind of went into a slumber. It did what markets do. It just started consolidating between 195 and 205, up 300 points, down 500 points, up 400 points. And frankly, to my mind, I was using all of the sell-offs as opportunities to capitalize on what I thought was going to be a mega trend by virtue of the long-term patterns. So to my mind, this is the way I look at the markets. The patterns get you to where the market is ultimately going to go. Now, the trouble for us traders is that sometimes it requires a huge amount of discipline, a huge amount of patience. It's kind of like the fisherman that goes out at 5 in the morning or the surfer that goes out at 5 in the morning, waiting for that perfect wave for the past 2 months while the pound versus New Zealand dollar has been thrashing around. We just have to keep our eye on the ball. And for most, this is not an easy thing to do. And frankly, I think unless you know how to master that, very difficult to be a long-term, consistent, profitable trader. But this is what I do. I hone in on just a few opportunities each year. So as opposed to most traders who are, going, squirrels hunting for nuts, darting in and out of trees, trading multiple times a day, I'm just looking for a few great opportunities a year where I can establish positions and then let the market work for me. In a minute, I'm going to give you a kind of a flash of my trading account. It's kind of been going up and down with the pound versus New Zealand dollar, but now with the pound New Zealand making multi-year highs, my account is at a very, very nice place. And frankly, I think that this is just beginning. So while I've got enormous profits in my trading account, I am still looking for a much bigger move before I start pairing my positions. So with that said, check out the video. I hope you like it, and I'll see you next time. In this chart before me, I'm looking at the multi-year performance of the pound versus the New Zealand dollar trading pair. This is a weekly chart, and if you've known me for any length of time, you know that I've been yammering on and on pretty much ad nauseum about the virtues of being long the pound versus New Zealand dollar, going all the way back to late 2016 and early 2017. Just to show you how confident I was in the upside trajectory of the pound versus New Zealand dollar trading pair since early 2017, I'm going to share with you several emails that I sent to thousands of our Pattern Trader members around the world. This email was on Sunday, March 5th, 2017, 3 years ago, in which the pound versus New Zealand dollar was trading at 175. Today we crossed 205, which means that the pound New Zealand dollar has soared 3,000 pips since the time this email went out. And as you can see in the screenshot, and I will draw this on a live chart in just a moment, I was looking at an emerging pattern. The pattern hadn't even fulfilled when I started getting the inkling from the way I look at the markets
that we were in for a huge turnaround operation in pound versus New Zealand. And what I mean by turnaround, you can see prior to this establishment, or the almost establishment of this double bottom price pattern, the market had actually crashed to all-time new lows. But even during this time, I was predicting a huge turnaround. And in my analysis, I said there was a huge emerging bullish price pattern in the form of what we call a double bottom. And again, I'm going to draw this on the live chart. And I also pointed to a number of key reversals, which to me were actually pointing in the direction this market was headed, that I knew over weeks, months, and years that this thing was going to go higher. And this was basically what I said. I said, although this pair is taking its sweet time gaining traction at current levels, last week's key reversal at a critical support level leads me again to believe that prices can only head much higher from current levels. Remember, this was early 2017, 3 years ago, and the British pound versus New Zealand dollar was bottoming at around the 160, 170 price area, and I was predicting a massive turnaround at that time. Here's another email that was sent out August 6, 2019, about 4 or 5 months ago. And again, based on the long-term price patterns, I was advising our members strongly to start getting long right at this area. Although it looked like nothing, I saw an emerging double bottom at a key support area. I said so in my email, and we started getting long at 186.72. And you'll see in subsequent emails, we still consolidated our position, added to our long position before this pair shot up over 2,000 pips from the time of this email. In this email, about 10 days later, I sent another email to our members advising them, despite the fact that they got long at 186.72, to keep buying this thing above this giant coil of all of these inside bars. And you can see in my email, based on the double bottom and the market coil, I said that it was going to result in continued momentum to the upside. And once again, despite the fact that we had 600 pips profit in the bag, I was not looking to take any profits. Instead, I was looking to add to my position at the 193 area on pound versus New Zealand dollar trading pair. This was on August 27th. And you can see I said buy anywhere. I said it's not a question to me when. It's not a question if prices will go higher, but when they will go higher. And I said at the time I didn't know how much volatility would occur before it went higher. Turns out we had a tremendous amount of volatility at that 193 area, but because of the underlying governing patterns, I stuck to my guns and made well over 7 figures on that particular move. Here are a collection of trades that I made in pound versus New Zealand dollar from the early August time frame that I just shared you. And with the concomitant run-up from 186 to over 205, I made over 7 figures in that particular trading cycle. Now I'm referring back to the real-time, the live chart of the pound versus New Zealand dollar trading pair. This is a weekly chart. And as you can see in today's trading action, we are making multi-year highs in pound New Zealand. As I said, this has been no surprise to me. This is something that I've been predicting since late 2016, early 2017. You can go and look at a litany of videos on YouTube and my emails all over the place. I have been consolidating positions on the long side of pound New Zealand for a long time. Again, why I had so much confidence was effectively based on my observation of what I call the governing price pattern. So you can see in this particular juncture, while the market was making all-time lows, there was certain price action that was indicating that we were grabbing a foothold in this area. And then when we retested the same area, forming what we call the double bottom price pattern. Double bottom is exactly what it sounds. The market falls to an all-time low, bounces from the low, retests the low, and when it comes through that neckline, which is simply a line drawn through the pattern, we have this perfectly formed W or double bottom price pattern. And with the word bottom in it, it means that the market can only do what? It can only go higher after a market has bottomed. Now you can see the market retested the neckline. We formed this rounding bottom. So now with the collection of the double bottom and the rounding bottom, I knew I had the tiger by the tail, and I have been making a fortune looking for opportunities to get long pound versus New Zealand dollar. Now you can see in this time frame, we made what I call an interim double bottom, and it was at this time that I started sending our emails out to our members to start getting long at the 186.72 area. We kept adding to our positions and made a fortune as the market rocketed to new highs. Once it went to new highs, as markets do when they get to major resistance areas, they basically consolidate. And you can see that this market has just been hanging out, consolidating at the upper levels of this price range, of the multi-year price range for the last few weeks. And frankly, I've been using any of these sell-offs as opportunities to consolidate and add to my long position. So instead of getting scared or spooked, I was looking at these sell-offs as an opportunity to get long. And now I'll give you a brief glimpse of my trading account and how I participated in this market. And as I have huge expectations going forward, despite the fact that I have huge open profits, I am not looking to get out anytime soon. This is a live screenshot of my trading account, and as you can see, I have been nibbling at the long side of pound New Zealand at different price levels over the course of the last many weeks and months. I've been holding this pound versus Australian trade for over a month, which is now yielding over $122,000 in profit on one position alone. But you can see I've been trading this or holding this position for well over a month. So this is really what differentiates me. When markets go into these inevitable consolidations, I don't lose my cool, I don't lose my patience, and this is part of my methodology. This is part of my trading principles. If you want to be long-term profitable, you cannot be frustrated by the inevitable ups and downs that the markets will go through. I just showed you this consolidation took place over a couple of weeks and perhaps even a couple of months, and this is just the nature of trading. And so instead of getting in and out, losing your money on multiple trades, I tend to focus on one trading opportunity where I can understand the governing pattern. And we saw the governing pattern in pound New Zealand was that double bottom that presented itself almost 3 years ago. And despite the fact that it was 3 years ago, that pattern has been governing the price action in the pound versus New Zealand dollar. Notwithstanding all of the chaos and tumult that came out of the UK Prime Minister Mansion, all the tumult that came out of what was going to happen with Brexit, hard Brexit, soft Brexit, no Brexit, prices started indicating where they were going to go well ahead of the events, and that also is my prevailing trading philosophy. I don't look at the news, I don't look at fundamentals. As you can see, the market was well ahead of the news or fundamentals. In late 2016, we had no idea who was going to be the Prime Minister of Britain. We had no idea what was going to be the outcome of Brexit, but the market knew, and the market was voting. So to my mind, price is king, the market is king, the market is always right. And by listening to the market, you can see now that I am making a boatload in the market. My positions are almost up $600,000 collectively. Now, one thing you'll notice is that I don't have any stop losses and take profits. Now, this is, again, my own personal trading account. I have my own risk determination. I don't advocate that you do this on every trade. This is a trade that I had confidence in. I didn't want to get hooked out on all of the inevitable ups and downs. We had 300 pip swings. We had 500 pip swings. But in my mind, the governing pattern was going to take this to where we inevitably are trading. And now I think we're going to go a lot higher. So I'm not going to put an arbitrary take profit just to hook me out of a position that is likely to go even higher. So I will continue to make determinations in the market based on price action. At some point I will start unwinding some of these positions, but in my mind the breakout of pound New Zealand dollar that I've been predicting for the last 3 years is just starting. So if you like my analysis, if you like this way of looking at the market, then I encourage you to sign up for my weekly video report. Now, usually we sell this report for hundreds of dollars on our website, but for this week only, we'll offer it to you for the grand price of anything you want to pay. So that's right. you can get this analysis, test it out, and decide exactly what you want to pay. Decide what the value of that information may be worth to you. We'll put a link there, and to my mind, this is a no-brainer. Check it out, and I hope to see you on next week's weekly video report. So with that said, I wish you a healthy and prosperous trading day.